Oh my goodness, it is live time. All right, folks. When it comes to keeping like your best, ultimate, awesomest people on your team, most managers think it's like a money question. But money is like weak sauce when it comes to those magical team members. I'm not saying money ain't important, like it's kind of critical, but it ain't the only thing. And so, what I want to do on this conversation is give you the two things that have been used on me and I've also leveraged with other people that I know helps retain that talent, the magical talent that we do not want to lose. Um, but not only does it retain the talent, it multiplies the value and the impact that they have on the team and the business and depending on what their position is. So we're going to get into that, but before we do, I'm Jesse, your selfish servant, and my mission is to leave the construction industry better than I found it. And you are invited to join me. So let's get into it. There are two things. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. If you're out there in the Omniverse, let me know. Drop a comment in the chat. Let me know where you're coming in from. If you've got questions, opinions, objections, all of the above, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to respond. Unless, of course, you're being a butthead, then I'm just going to ignore you. So anyways, here are the 2 points. Number one, and I'm gonna get into give you a little more clarity about it. But the number one point is introduce them to people, other people that can help them expand their thinking. Number two is contribute to their interests beyond the job. Now, both of these seem kind of maybe kind of simple, but they are profoundly impactful, especially to the individual. So let's talk a little bit more about the magical top talent that you don't want to lose. I'm not necessarily, or rather, yes, we have high performers. We have people that are compliant and they will do all the things. They will listen, follow direction, and they'll do. They're on time. They don't make any waves. They go. They're good. Those people are great, but and this will work on them too. But other there's another layer of talent. And when I say talent or layer, what I'm talking about are the dot connectors. and when I'm talking about dot connectors, I'm talking about the people that are on your team, or maybe they're on somebody else's team. Maybe you haven't had the fortune of having somebody that performs at this level on your team, but they see a problem and they take steps to create durable solutions for the problem that benefit not just them, but the whole team. Like it's very easy to get confused about them being a top performer. And a lot of people think that they're doing really good because they're surfacing problems. And well, I mentioned it. I told them it was an issue. I told them there's a process thing. I told them. That's helpful, right? Yes, we want you to surface problems. That's good. What's great is that special somebody that sees the problem, does the leadership work of understanding the problem from multiple perspectives, not just their own, multiple perspectives, the different people, the different stakeholders that are affected by the situation, and come up with like a durable solution that makes things better for themselves and for the team as a whole. That's a lot different than somebody pointing saying, there's a fire over there's a fire. And then when the damn building burns down, they say, well, I told them there was a fire. It was helpful that you said that. The other people say, there's a fire. You call 911. You take everybody outside of the building to meet at the muster point. And then they take steps to investigate and understand what contributed to the fire and remove those conditions so that the fire doesn't happen again. Now, I'm not talking about firefighters here. I'm talking about specifically those dot connectors that are on your team or maybe on other people's teams that do their job and they're great. And they take it upon themselves to solve problems. Not just surface them and bring them and tell the manager and tell everybody else and complain about how stinky it is. They actually do the leadership work of solving the problem. Now, here's a truth. a lot of times, most of the time, they are operating way beyond their purview, meaning it's not the thing that they've taken on is not their core function or their core responsibility. So they go beyond the limits of the job description. All right. Now, we already know if you're a dictator and you're a micromanager, guess what? Nobody on your team. You don't have to worry about this conversation because nobody on your team functions that way because you've choked it out of them. But there are other teams where it's good fertile ground where people ain't scared to like take a risk and do something for the benefit of the team. And so, anyways, hopefully you're clear now on what I mean when I'm talking about the dot connectors, right? This higher, super awesome level of talent on the team that are willing, not only do they execute on their project, not only do they surface problems, but they also can see the connectivity of all the things and they can come up with solutions that help the organization or the team as a whole. These are the people that you really, really want to invest in. And before I go any further, I'm going to point out a super duper awesome baller, Miss Sarah. Sarah, good morning. How are you? If you don't know Sarah, y'all need to connect with her because she is a gangster. She's got to go. I missed you yesterday on the Jumpers call, sister. It was a good one. Okay. So now that we understand what I'm talking about when I say the dot connectors, right? Like those super special people on the team that we want to make sure we keep and we don't lose. And I'll say it one more time, just in case you're coming in now, coming in late. It's not just about money. Sure, money is important, right? Like it's super, super critical. But if that's the only button you have to push, you got a long way to go. And these super, super talented people that really, really contribute in big ways to the team, money's not enough for them. Like there's going to be a minimum that you got to compensate them with. But if you want to keep them and if you want to cultivate and stoke the coals of all of their awesomeness, here's number one thing that you need to do. Introduce them to people that can help them expand their thinking. And so what does that mean? Sure, internally within your team or within your organization, you can say like, oh, this is, I'm gonna highlight my sister Sarah here. She says, I miss joining too, right? Like this is Sarah. Sarah's amazing. She's got game. Let me introduce you to John and Josh and Lucy and Amy and Terry. That's kind of okay. You introduce them to people. Now, you as a leader, you as the leader of the team or the organization, my hope is if you ain't doing this, you need to start doing this. You have a network of folks that you look at and say, man, that you're learning a lot from. The way they think, the way they function, the way they operate challenges you to think differently, to expand your thinking, to broaden your perspective. That's who I'm talking about introducing them to, right? You see this person over here, and here's it's a really curious thing. These dot connectors, these super, I was saying like Energizer Bunny type people, and they got so much talent. However, they can't see that they're still in a little circle, and the fact that they're just in this little circle is limiting them. And they're okay, like that's okay. Our job as leaders is to say, hey, look, let me open up the ceiling here, and look, there's more. Let me introduce you to some other people that are going to challenge your thinking and that are going to help you expand the way you operate and maybe ask questions and so on and so forth. Now, I know some people are thinking, well, how do I know? What if? Like, forget the what ifs, man. It really is just about introducing them to a network of individuals that will challenge them and that will contribute to their thinking, whether it's job related or not. And here's the thing, like for real, if you have a hard line separation between job and everything else, you're limiting your ability to cultivate talented people. I honestly believe, and I've practiced this, when we remove the separation between work and professional and the other amazing people in my life, and I let that bleed over, the outcome, my growth, my awareness, the depth in which I can contribute expands dramatically. And so my point being, I'll give you a real specific example. I have my personal advisory council. And that is, and I've had that idea since I had a real job, right? Long time ago. Now, on that advisory council, they are people that have specific, are living a type of life or have specific ways in which they operate that I want to build. It's always been that way. And some of those people are professional people, like people that I know in work or that are at different levels within the organization or with other companies, with other competitors or clients of ours. Like I would pick people from that circle. And I had people that were in my personal realm that I went and picked out because they were specific things that they did that I recognized, like, man, I want to be like them when I grow up. They do something, they have a skill set or a way of thinking, a way of functioning that will help me. And so they're on my advisory council. And the key point here is it's a mix of not just professional contacts, right? Not just professional network and the colleagues and all that. It's all the people in my world, like the best of the best of the best in my world. And so I have that advisory council. And when I get other people in my life that I see they got game, they got talent, and they're struggling with the thing, like, sure, I could tell them, you need to fix this, right? Or you should think about this differently. I could have that. Like, that's part of my job, maybe as a mentor and an influencer and all those other things of these individuals. What's more effective, because there's this power dynamic, right? If I'm their manager, and I'm suggesting to them to do things a certain way, that comes across like you better do it this way. Or it comes across as a little invasive, like maybe I'm violating the boundaries of professional and personal. So to stoke the fire, I say, okay, Sarah, you got a lot going on, and there's a few things that I could see that are kind of in your way, and I really think you can like expand this if you want to. And I have a couple of people that I want you to meet. I'm going to introduce you to them. And wherever that relationship goes, it's entirely up to you. But the reason I want to introduce you to them is because of the way they function and the way they think. They're having major impact on and off the clock. And they're having fun doing it. And I think they got some magic bean sauce that could benefit you. Right? It is a little violation of the boundaries, but because Sarah, in this example, is like somebody I want to maintain in my circle, maintain her, keep her on the team, keep her engaged. What I'm doing is making a massive deposit in the emotional bank account and signaling to her, like, look, I trust you and value you so much that I'm going to give you access. I'm going to introduce you to people that can turbo boost your situation. That's the game. Now, if maybe that's a little too far for some of you out there, I get it. A simple, like, maybe start, here's the kindergarten level. Introduce them, right? Like, I've been in situations where I had managers that suggested, hey, Jess, you should be a part of this committee for X industry organization. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that was their idea or their way of helping me expand my network and, expand my world. It was a suggestion, right? It didn't land. And then I had managers that said, hey, Jess, this evening there's this lunch thing that I need you to come to. So make sure you did it. I'm taking you to this lunch. I'm like, oh, what is it? Oh, it's with such and such organization. Okay, fine. Free lunch, I'm in. And then we go to the thing. And my manager said, hey, I want to introduce you to Mike and John and Priscilla and Joanna. And awesome. And so I introduced myself to them and we have a conversation. And then guess what happens? They're like, oh, hey, we got this. It seems like you have an interest in, like, this is really what happened. Like, you're a lean psychopath. We need somebody on the education committee that kind of thinks about that. What do you think? Would you be interested in? Like, oh, shit. Okay, cool. So now my manager not just made a recommendation, he took me and introduced me to people that created a situation for me to expand my experience, expand my influence, and like test new boundaries, test new waters. Again, this is like in the professional boundaries, right? Within the professional world, because it was an industry organization that we sponsored, blah, 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 blah. And then the next level where I've been super fortunate that I've had some super duper amazing leaders in my life where they said, hey man, what are you doing this weekend? we have this thing going on. I know you had an interest in talking about careers in construction, careers in the trade, and there's a few people that are getting together, but there's one guy there that's super, super active, and he speaks nationally, not specifically about the trades, but I think he might be able to, you might get some tricks from him that can help you with your thing. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, are you freaking serious? Like, that's not, has nothing to do with my day job. It did. He's like, yeah, I know, but I know what it's what you care about. And I know the guy. Like, if you're up for it, come to the thing and I'll make an introduction. That right there, the hooks were in, right? Like, I knew this manager believed in me, and more so, not just because of the value that I brought that was in alignment with what was on my job description. He believed in me as a human being. And so I was super, super committed to not, yeah, of course, to the job in the company at the time, but to that individual who I still stay in contact with now. All right, let's go to the comments. Miss Sarah says, I love this. What I found is some leaders don't do that because that means they have to expand. Oh, girl, yes. People get scared of all the possibilities. They might leave. They might make me have to change. What do you say when people have that type of leader? Oh, Sarah, you're stirring it up. I love it. And like, I'll just say this first. That is a rational concern. Because guess what? I was just bragging about the leader that introduced me and helped me expand my thing by introducing me to other people. I quit on him. I left the company eventually. Partly because my world had expanded in such a way that it's like, man, I need more to challenge. I think I can contribute more. And within this organization, there is a ceiling, and that ceiling ain't high enough for me. And so what I say is this. And I'm going to kind of use one of your points here about people getting scared of the possibilities. They might cause us to change. And so absolutely, it's going to cause you to change. Yes, it is very possible. Rather, I'll say highly likely that that individual will leave the company. And it's also quite possible, especially today, in today's times, that you will leave the company too. So this is not like, this is really an investment in human beings and developing people and contributing to things that have greater impact beyond the P&L of your little job or your little department or your little business. This is about human beings and the industry at large. And so, yes, there is risk that the person will grow and find a different opportunity and leave the organization. Now, here's like the thing that I want people that are stuck in that fear. What is that a signal of? Like, for real, when the best and smartest people are leaving the organization and you're complaining about loyalty, let me say it again. The best and smartest people are leaving the organization, let me say it a different way, and you're not. Maybe you're not the best and smartest. Maybe you're not very smart. Or, yeah, that's me kind of being silly, or you're not growing and adapting enough. Because yes, that's kind of the tertiary benefit of taking this tactic and introducing your dot connectors, your super, super awesome people, your fire starters, and helping them expand their network and introducing them to people that are going to help them challenge and stretch and grow. You too are going to have to continue to grow and stretch, right? Great people do not like working for scrubs. And so if I'm constantly investing in developing my greatest people, my fire starters, and they get to a point where I'm now the scrub, guess what? They're freaking gonna leave. So I also have to be expanding and growing my influence, my impact, my contributions, because people want to work with great people. And if I stop doing the things that make me great, guess what? I'm contributing to them leaving. So it is a hard truth about it is that yes, they might leave. And you might leave too. Now, some things to really, really consider is when that individual leaves, because of the deposits you made in them, they left the company. They didn't leave you. They still recognize you as a massive uh, advocate for them, and they will contribute, they will reciprocate, and I can't really paint the path for that, but because of what you did for them, they'll never forget you, and they'll mention you to other people, just like what I'm doing on this live stream about my bosses, right? And so there is some benefit there, right? There is some recruiting, shoot, what's the word, promoting, right? Some promotions, because they'll be talking about, hey, I worked with Sarah and she was amazing and she did all these things for me. I left because I had to, but that's a great place to go work. She's an amazing leader. She's an amazing manager. She did this for me, this, and so there's some, back end, backdraft or wake type benefits of them leaving and going on to do their own thing. So hopefully that helps, Miss Sarah. Let's see. Sarah says, people that like to grow don't want to work with scrubs. I like that. That's a t-shirt. Like, for real, for real. And it's okay if, like, for real. It sucks 100% to get people on your team, put all the time and effort into developing them and contributing to their growth, and then they get pulled off and put on another team, or they go to another company. Like, that's not fun. But that's the job as a leader. I mean, in Jesse land anyways, like, over and over, and anybody out there that's run crews, foreman, superintendent, project managers, you get a team that's clicking and you never want to let them go. But what happens? You develop them, they get really good, you get your assistant PM or your foreman or lead man or whatever, and it ain't very long till those people get pulled and put on another project because they're needed somewhere else. Does it suck? Yes. That's the job of a leader. Our job is to develop these people so that they can expand their earning capacity, so they can expand their impact and go and contribute elsewhere. It doesn't mean you're divorced and you never get to talk again. That's just the way it is. So at the small scale, like, well, micro scale, I'll say, like on your project or your department, you lose people all the time to other projects, to other teams internal to the organization. Do they leave the company? Yeah, it's the same thing. And so your job as a leader is to do that, to go out there and cultivate that talent so that that talent can go out and we'll say multiply the impact that you have on human beings. So that's what it is. Yes, they might leave. And you know what? Here's the other thing. If you decide not to make this investment in your dot connector fire starter people, they're gonna leave anyways. And you're only gonna get a fraction of their capabilities because you're not investing in them. So pay me now, pay me later. You're gonna pay, baby. And one more time, people that like to grow don't want to work with scrubs. So don't be a scrub, man. Don't be scared. You'll be all right. All right, point number 2. We talked about introducing them to people, and one more repeat for some clarity. I mean, like, face-to-face introduction, not a text, hey, y'all should get to each other. Oh, I'm done. No. I mean, make them freaking shake hands. And for extra credit, say, this is why I want to introduce you. Sarah, I want you to meet Josh. Sarah's done ABC. She's amazing. She's got a lot of potential. She's got a lot of energy. And I know that you've accomplished a bunch of things, and I think you can contribute to her. Sarah, Josh has accomplished all of these things. He's overcome these hurdles. And because of that, I think y'all have some commonalities that y'all might be able to have, like a mentor-mentee relationship, or maybe collaborate on a problem going forward. That is why I'm introducing you guys. That's a proper introduction. Not like, hey, you should know, hey, this is Josh and this is Sarah. And all right, guys, I did, like, no, that's weak sauce, man. So because why? Because boom, that's our job as a leader, to help others grow and grow ourselves. Amen. Now, the second point is contribute to their interest. Again, we're talking specifically about tactics to keep and maintain, as long as possible, your top talent, your fire starters, your dot connectors, right? And this one is, I know, extra difficult or challenging for the traditional manager. Contributing to their interest beyond the job. right? Because I understand this is the organization, these are the things, this is what you're supposed to do. I don't want you to go take a class in basket weaving. Here's a fun, like a serious example. I worked with TD Industries for like 17 years, and we had a tuition reimbursement program. But some like, and it was just, it was a tuition reimbursement program, based on, me. If I went to night school, I paid for it, and if I passed, I showed them my what do you call it, report card, and then I got my money back, and it was awesome. And I took advantage of it for a little bit. Never got the degree, but I took a bunch of classes. But I had a manager that was like, well, I don't think that keyboarding. I took a keyboarding course. Um, and he was like, well, I don't know that that qualifies for reimbursement because you're a superintendent. And I'm like, whatever, bro. Right? Like his little closed-minded thinking added friction to the experience. And my point is, a lot of times as managers, we get these blinders on that it has to be 100% specific, connected to the job description and the skills and things that they do on a daily basis. Otherwise, it's not going to bring any value. Negative. Or maybe that's the standard and the standard sucks. If you want to have phenomenal outcomes, you're going to have to think a little bit bigger than the stupid job description, okay? And so, again, along the same lines, it would have been awesome, but this didn't happen. I took I signed up for an improv class because I was interested in improv. I paid for it. It was all on my own dime. I think this was like after I stopped doing real jobs. Because I was interested in improv, right? Like improvisational comedy or acting, or I don't know anyways. And it was really, really challenging. I got some insight into how deep my control issues were. But there were some things, like some real life lessons I got from that class. Not only that, but there were a couple of exercises that we did in the improv class that was totally separate from my professional world that I have integrated into a bunch of the workshops that I do, because it helps people expand their thinking. And so my point is that me taking the time, spending whatever it was, $900, I don't even know, and like 8 Saturdays out of a year to go to this improv class, 100% expanded or deepened my ability to serve others. It expanded my thinking in a lot of really important ways. And it also, because I'm weird like that, I was able to pull some stuff out and generate business value out of it. Now, if I was short-sighted, right, like if I could just not see past my nose and say, well, I'm only going to spend money on things that bring direct business value, I never would have taken that. But because I did take it, because I was thinking bigger, it's had a really dramatic impact. And I'll go on to say several of the people that have been through my workshops have taken some of those elements and they use it in their training with their organizations. That's just proof of how valuable the experience or the action of me going and taking that improv class is. Now, I'm not saying get all your people to go take improv. What I'm saying though is if you're a manager, you're a leader, and you have some like really baller, like super dot connector, fire starter talent on your team, and you're just trying to figure out how to like keep them, right? Because that's another indicator. They're very good at their job. They finish fast. They're not stressed. They're going to get bored. You got to keep them challenged, right? And yes, you can give them more work, but at some point it's like, man, I'm just going to keep getting more work. Weak sauce, right? Because all the other scrubs ain't doing their job. So the next level, like ultimate level, is okay. They're excellent at their job. Everything I get, they handle. Everything I give them, they handle. I've given them some status. I'm introducing them to the people. Now, how do I keep engaged? How do I keep them engaged with our thing here? Well, here's the recommendation. First, recognize them. So I want to recognize Shahir Israr. What's going on? Hello, coming in from LinkedIn land. Appreciate you showing up. Recognize them, but invest some time to understand what their interests are, not just as the job, like not the stupid old, what's your 5-year plan? Where do you see yourself in 3 years? Like, come on, man, everybody does that already. Get over it. Like, you got to have that conversation, but that's not the end all be all of the conversation. It really is sitting in to understand, hey man, what kind of things are you interested in? What things do you want to learn? What skills do you want to build? And then contribute to that. Right? Do they want to learn how to do keyboarding? I know it's kind of maybe outdated. Awesome. Then it's simple, right? Like, what are we talking about? To take a class, let's just say it's $900, whatever the class is for the skill that they want to build. $900. $900. That, if you're in a company, that's not a lot of money. So if they're interested in building a keyboarding skill, it's very simple to say, man, Sarah, I'm glad you want to build that skill. I'll tell you what, go find a class, sign up for it, bring me the receipt, and I'll reimburse you for that class. Right? Like, most managers don't do that. And I'll tell you, like, for real, this happened again, like I said, maybe I'm bragging a little bit. Harold McDowell was the CEO of TD Industries. And way back in the day, I had an interest in learning Excel. I was on a project, and one of the electricians, my fellow foreman, had a laptop on the job. He was a project manager, actually, and he was doing Excel. I'm like, what is that? And I had seen Excel in one of the classes I had taken, and I knew it could do formulas, but I never really like tinkered on it. And he's like, dude, this is how you do that. I was like, oh my God, you mind if I use your laptop? And he was like, dude, I'm going to leave the laptop here in the trailer. And I said, okay, easy. So what did that mean? I got to the job site early and I stayed later. And so I'd get there at 5:30, 5:45, and he would get there about 6:30. So for 30 or 45 minutes in the morning, I would play around. I created a spreadsheet and I was just experimenting, trying to build a thing to track production is what I was working on. And then at the end of the day, he would leave and I would stay there and I'd flip open the laptop and I'd continue to work on this little thing that I was trying to build. Anyways, fast forward, Harold, who was he wasn't the CEO at the time, but it was clear he was the heir apparent, caught wind of the fact that I was jacking around on Excel before and after work. And so he approached me and he said, Jess, like, I heard that you're doing this, like, you don't have to do that. I said, oh, I know I don't have to, but I'm gonna. Like, as long as you're, like, don't tell me not to, because I'm gonna, brother. And he said, okay, here's the deal. This was back before laptops were super accessible, right? He said, get yourself a computer that you could, for the house. Do you have a computer at home? Like, hell no, I don't have a computer at home. And he said, okay, get one and I will reimburse you $500. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. And I remember, like, I was on cloud, like, man, this guy's really gonna, like, he's really gonna make that investment. It was massive. And so I did. I went and got a computer. He gave me my $500. And that was like the early start to now me, all the other crap that I do right now. But the main point is this. He recognized that I had an interest beyond the job. Because none of the other foremen were worried about Excel. It was just my cycle butt that was worried about it. He saw it. And of course, yeah, there was been a direct benefit to the project and to the business. And he made an investment in it. And I was like, dude, this guy's my hero forever. I still every now and then reach out to him. And so that's an example of pay attention to your people, those crazy people that put in extra effort. And like I said, do the leadership work of understanding the problem from multiple perspectives and build durable solutions that help everybody, not just themselves, not the complainers that wish things were different or wish things were their way. The people that make things better for the group. Figure out what their interests are and then contribute to their interests. You not only will you extend their tenure with you, with your team or with your organization, but you will also multiply the impact and the value that they have on your team and your organization. So on the short end, it seems like a dumb bet. Why would you go give some dumb smart ass plumber $500? to buy a computer that he should buy if he wants one at home. Most managers, that's what they would think. My boss said, go do it, because he could see the value, he could see the potential. And I still have massive affinity for him. And I spent a lot of years there adding a shitload of value to the company. And you can trace it all the way back to that little investment that he made in me. And so my point is, you as a manager, if you're managing people, managing teams out there, I know you might not have all the stroke in the world. It doesn't take you don't have to write a $500 check. Be creative. Figure out, first, step one, figure out what the hell your people are interested in beyond the job, and then find a way to contribute to it, right? Maybe it's just regular conversations. You can figure it out, but that's the key. All right, so Miss Sarah has another comment. She says, it's just like when they have football players do ballet. Perfect. Yes, Sarah. They aren't trying to get them to do ballet, but expand their physical capabilities. 100%. It doesn't have to be a direct straight line, or rather, I'm going to say it differently. Stop looking for direct straight lines. Just know that there's connectivity. You don't have to map out the connectivity. Your fire starter talent, your dot connector talent, they will find the pathway to connect the value back to the organization. That's why they're classified as the dot connectors and the fire starters. Now, here's the other truth. Like, if you don't want to keep them and you don't want to get more out of them, don't do anything that I just suggested. Just keep doing what you're doing. Give them a raise. Have your mandatory quarterly freaking review. Ask them what they want to do in 5 years. And I promise you, within 24 months, you're going to lose them and you're going to be complaining about loyalty. But if you want to maintain them and you want to like stoke the fire and see how freaking awesome they can be and how they start affecting all the other people in a very positive way, two things, man. Introduce them to people that can help expand their thinking. Send them to a conference, right? Like, there's a lot of ways to make that happen. Point number two, contribute to their interest beyond the job. I know it's a little radical, but I promise you, I've done it. It's been done to me. I continue to do that with people in my circle, and it does have profound and massive impact. Now, I'd love to keep talking to you live, but we got our book study today with the Construction Leadership Lab. What's that? What's the Construction Leadership Lab? Well, that's a group of super awesome ballers that want to leave the industry better than we found it. It's a community that is launching or is in test phase right now. And so if you want to be on the first to know list, so that you can be a part of the Construction Leadership Lab, well, we're going to have these types of conversations with people that have lived the messy, stinky, frustrating, exciting bits of actually being a human being while learning to lead. Drop community in the chat and I'll find a way to get the link to you so you can get on the first to know list, so that when we actually do open the doors for general registration, you can sign right up and be a part of the team. So until next time, be kind to yourself, be cool, and we'll talk at you next time.